This workshop that they've been doing with their students, and they've had great success with. So welcome. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thanks. All right, so all of you have already taken an OPT to pass the writing, is that correct? Or are you still working on it to work towards taking the test?
Right.
Is that right? Okay. All right. When you take your test, there's a lot of little information that usually students don't know about. So I want to make sure you kind of have a cheat sheet of some information that kind of helps you have a leg up on doing the writing. And I kind of gave myself my own cheat sheet. Can anybody tell me how much time the person who's in charge of your scoring has to read your essay and give it a score? Anybody know? 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes to write it, yes, but the person who reads it. And I've got your essay, I've got how much time to look at it and decide if you've passed or not. It's actually 90 seconds. 90 seconds. That is all the time that person has to read your essay and decide if you get a passing score or not. Okay? So I want you to kind of have that in the back of your mind so you know how important it is to organize your writing. Okay? I want to talk about topics. Is anybody kind of scared about the topic that's going to be picked? Yeah, you get that, oh, I don't know what they're going to ask me. The good thing about the topics is you don't have to worry about knowing a certain event. They're not going to say, in 1814, what historic event occurred. Okay, they're not going to do that kind of topic. But they're going to ask you something that you're going to have an answer. You're going to have an opinion. You're going to have personal experience to talk about it. So I want you to feel like you can go in and feel safe with this question, okay? Handwriting. Who has neat handwriting? I have neat handwriting. Anybody? No, I'm not seeing a lot of guys raising their hands at all. They're like, no way! Okay. Handwriting is actually important when you're doing your essay writing, okay? You need to put an extra effort into making sure that we can read what you're writing. You could have great thoughts, perfect examples, you're telling me a great story, and if I have to struggle to read your essay, you could fail just because I can't read what you're writing. Okay, so really put extra effort into making sure I can read it. Okay? All right. Vocabulary. It's kind of using the best word. When you're writing, you want to be really careful not to get into the idea of, if I write short little sentences, I'll be safe. Okay? I like dogs. Dogs are great. They make great pets. Those are not real constructive sentences. You need to make sure you're putting some great vocabulary words in there. Don't worry so much about the spelling. If you can't spell intelligent, but you try because it's a bigger, better vocabulary word, you can get more points for using big vocabulary, better vocabulary, okay? You also want to worry about, let's give you a sentence, and I'm not going to use red, I'm going to use green. We went to their house. Hopefully, you can see I put some mistakes in there. Even when I write, I have to go back and say, ooh, you know the your, Y-O-U-R, and if you're trying to say you are, it's actually an apostrophe, R-E, so sometimes when you get in a hurry and you're writing, you're not thinking about the better words to use. In this, we went to their house, that's the wrong two, isn't it? It's got one too many O's. And there, that's a location, not talking about people. Okay? So you want to be careful when you're writing that you're trying to use the right words when you're explaining yourself. That leads me kind of into editing. Do you guys erase when you make mistakes? Yeah? Erase? That's what I like to do. I'm one of those neat freaks. I want it to be nice and neat. But I do want to let you know, editing is a huge part of an essay. You should, at the end of your essay, before you turn it in, go back and reread to make sure what you've written is what you wanted to say. There's so many times one thing leads to another. You don't want that to happen in an essay. So you want to go back and make sure you're saying the right things. And the great thing about doing that is you can look and find your mistakes. So if I had reread this sentence, I would have said, oh, that is the wrong two. So you want to put a line through it and put two over top of it. Don't erase. If you erase, we might not even be able to tell you went back and thought about what you wrote and corrected yourself. Correcting is such a big part of essay writing. This there is the wrong there. So you want to put the correct one on top. Now notice I'm putting one line. Okay? Don't put the little curly cues. Don't scribble it out. It needs to be one line and what you really meant to say there. If maybe you wanted to put another word in, you can put the word, but put a little arrow in and putting it up on top. Because sometimes you get out of your thoughts and you're like, whoo, what am I supposed to do? You don't want to erase lines and lines and lines to start all over again. Just plug it in there so the reader will see that you made the edits. Okay? Simple things like this can increase your score. Okay? All right, so I want to kind of talk to you about the scoring. What I have here is a copy of an OPT, which is the practice test. Okay? And I'm just using this so you can kind of see how important the essay is to your overall score. That's fine. One more. Now, let's see, I got more. There you go. Thank you. You know that if you do not pass your essay, no matter how many multiple choice you get correct, you don't pass, right? Okay? I want you to know that if you rock your essay, it makes the multiple choice so much easier. Okay? So I want you to look at this form that I just handed you. Okay? This is what we use as teachers to grade your practice test. Okay? So if you look across and you score a 2 on your essay, and so you know that's the lowest you could score on an essay to pass. Okay? So if you look on the column that says number 2, how many multiple choice do you have to have correct to get that 410 passing score? 17. Okay? That's a lot of multiple choice to get right. Okay? So look across, up at the top, you'll see it says that's a score of a 2, then it says 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Okay? I know I'm an overachiever, but I love the number 4. Okay? Love it. So let's look at this number 4, and I want you to now find me how many do you have to get right for a 410 if you score a 4 on your essay?
2
questions. 2 questions on this practice test to still be able to get your 410. Okay? So that essay is so important to your grade. Okay? Let's talk about 4. Again, 4, you just got to get a mantra in your mind. 4, 4, 4. There you go. What I'm handing out now is called the essay. What I'm handing out now is the essay rubric. This is what we use as teachers to grade your. Oh, yes.
And can we get 2 more of the
Yes, you can.
score sheet?
No, 4 more.
4 more.
4.
Well, there's 4 more people back here.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, focused on the students. And you want these too? This is how your GED teacher scores your essay. It would be organize your thoughts when you're writing. Okay? All right. Response to prompt. What that means is, remember back here we talked about topics. Okay, you're going to be asked a question. If you're asked a question, you have to answer it. It's amazing how many people will start their essay and they don't answer the question. And we will cover that later when we work on our goal. But you need to make sure you present a clearly focused main idea that addresses the prompt. Basically, you need to answer the question. Okay? All right. Wow, they even have their own topic of organization. Organization establishes a clear and logical organization. My husband is notorious for telling me a story, and he starts off, and somehow he ends up way over here, way over there, way over here, and at the end comes back to where he was. And I'm so busy trying to figure out how he got here to here to here to here, that by the time he tells me his point, I don't even know where we started. Okay? That is really bad in an essay. And if you wrote an essay, he failed it, because that's exactly how we do it. Okay? So you need to have thoughts on how you're going to go step by step by step, so that the person who's reading it is not going, whoa, where did that go? Woo, how did we get here? Because once they lose their thought, remember, 90 seconds is not a lot of time for me to read and understand what you're writing. Okay? All right. Here it says development and details. This says achieves coherent development with specific and relevant details and examples. Okay. If I ask you if you like spinach and your answer is no, I want an explanation on why you don't like spinach. I don't want to hear because, okay, that's not telling me something. I want a story. Tell me a story on why you don't like spinach. Maybe it's because every time you go out to eat, it gets stuck in your teeth. Okay? Maybe it's because every time your grandmother cooked it, she put it in with vinegar and it got all mushy. Okay, there's a good story to say why you don't like spinach. That's the kind of thing you need to put in your essay. I want to read an essay and feel that I'm there with you. I want to experience whatever example you put into your essay. Okay? So when you're writing, think about, oh, if I'm going to talk about grandma's cookies, talk about grandma's cookies. Okay? If you're going to sit there and talk about your favorite dog, say why it's your favorite dog, not just because, he was yours. Okay? Put the details in your writing. Okay? It goes down and it talks about using varied word choice, kind of like, I like dogs. I like that they are my best friend. I like that they sleep in my bed. You don't want to start your sentences the same. We kind of talked about that when we were talking about vocabulary. Okay? And we also talked about making sure, as much as possible, that you're using the right words. The funny thing is, when you're writing an essay, most people are so concerned over punctuation and spelling that they want to do things short and choppy. Yes, punctuation is important. Yes, spelling is important, but it is not, oh my God, I spelled a word wrong, important. Okay? So if you can get your essay organized, tell a story, give me a belief in what you're saying, even if it's not true. Did you know you didn't have to tell the truth on an essay? Who would have thought? You can make up the story as long as you make me believe it. Okay? So I had a young lady who took the essay, and she was asked a question about her mother, and she didn't want to talk about her mother. So she made up her mom, and the mom she wrote about, I don't want those. Okay, that was great, but she passed. So I don't want you to feel like it has to be the absolute truth. You can make something up as long as you make me believe it. Okay? That's kind of the cheat sheet, the stuff that not everybody knows walking in when they take a test. Okay? So now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of organization. I do want to say that what I'm going to teach you is a 5-paragraph essay. You don't have to write a 5-paragraph essay. Totally up to you. There's not a certain amount of words that you have to write in an essay. It's, again, totally up to you. What I will tell you is that in the years I've been teaching GED, the people that I have worked with on an essay, if they followed write the 5-paragraph essay, or at least try to write the 5-paragraph essay, they passed the writing. Okay? I truly believe in what I'm about to show you. All right. Oh. Okay. All right. Who in here organizes before they write? Good. Good. Okay. So the rest of you guys kind of just jump on in and think as you're writing. Okay. And that's fun, but sometimes you kind of get off track. Okay. If you organize, it keeps things going the way you originally set out to write them. Okay? So when you go in to take your test, you can ask, if you aren't given scrap paper, you can ask for scrap paper so that you can organize your essay. Okay? By the way, this is a little known fact. Did you know when you're given the essay test or the writing test, you don't have to start with a multiple choice? You can start with the essay. It's your test. But we're so used to the first page opens, we've got to do the first page. If you go in and want to take charge and jump on that essay, you can go in and do the essay first. Just make sure you're giving yourself time to do the multiple choice at the end. Okay? So, organizing. You're given a topic. Today's topic is going to be, what is your favorite holiday? Who's got the answer? Give me this.
Christmas.
Oh, wow, there we go. Let's make it easy. All right. So, Christmas. If you have pencils, you can write on the backs of the paper that I gave you so that you can kind of have an example of this. All right. Christmas is the answer to the prompt. Now, remember on the form, it says, presents a clearly focused main idea that addresses the prompt. So, you told me Christmas. Now we've got to make that into a sentence.
Food. Food.
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah. You have to stretch. You're giving me examples. Yeah. We'll jump on that too. One more, Aisha. Decorations. I am loving you all.
Wait, nobody said music.
Well, you took care of that, didn't you? There we go. Religions. What was that?
Religion. Family.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Whoa. Now see, you've got lots of ideas. Sometimes you kind of have to stop and say, where am I going to put them all? Is there one heading I can put all these things in? So if you're talking about religion and family, it may be you want to do that as a circle, or you may even bring the food in with the family and make it a whole bunch of pileups, because each of these circles here is a paragraph. Okay. Now, I'm teaching a 5-paragraph, but if you've got a ton of stuff to write about, feel free. Okay? However, a paragraph is not one sentence. So, don't say, I love decorations, period, and then go to the next paragraph. I need more information about your decorations. So if you're putting all these bubbles, make sure you're going to have all the information for me. Okay? Let's talk about Christmas as being your answer. Okay? So, my favorite holiday is Christmas. That is an appropriate topic sentence. Okay? Or, Christmas is my favorite holiday. Short, sweet, to the point. You can extend that. There's nothing wrong with saying, when thinking about holidays, I love them all, but Christmas is my favorite. You put more into that sentence, and that's okay, just as long as you give me the answer to the question. Okay? So, Christmas is my favorite holiday. So we're talking about music, gifts, family, food, and decorations. We might condense later. So, let's start here. We're going to make this number 1. I like to number things because it helps me to keep things in order. When I go to write, first thing I'm going to write about is music. Second thing, gifts. It gives me an order. If you don't want to do it that way, you can put it, number 1 is food, number 2 is gifts, but I like to put numbers to help me keep organized, okay? So when we think about music, what do we think about? Christmas music. What do you have a favorite song? Maybe you have a favorite singer? Okay. In my house, it is not Christmas time till I pull out my iPod and I have more Christmas music than most CD stores. Okay, I have a lot of Christmas music. So for me, we have to, and this is terrible, but on Thanksgiving, I'm allowed to put Christmas music on. It's a rule. Okay. Now notice that's not a full sentence. It's just a thought. I need to remember, and I can extend that when I'm talking, but I just need to remember a few words to say. You know, in my house, the tradition is on Thanksgiving Day, we're allowed to put on the CD. And the first one that I put in Perry Como. Or Nat King Cole, baby. Old school stuff. Okay? So this is the kind of thing you're going to think about with music. And keep in mind, if music is not a big part of your Christmas, you're not going to use that topic. Okay? So I don't want you to feel like just because I talked about it, you have to think about other people's experiences. This is not about other people's experiences. It's about your own. Okay? How about gifts? What do we like about gifts? Didn't the gifts come from this side? I thought somebody like screamed out gifts. What is it? Do you like to give them? Do you like to get them? Do you like to wrap them? The getting and the giving? Okay. My friends will tell you at Christmas time, I am a wrapping paper fiend. I will spend more time sometimes looking for the wrapping paper than the gift, because it's got to be the perfect wrapping paper. And I make a whole day out of wrapping. Anything else about gifts? Do they just miraculously appear? I got them. Shopping. I love Christmas shopping. Okay. As a matter of fact, I have a girlfriend that every Christmas we find time to go shopping, which is really hard considering our schedules. So if I was talking about Christmas shopping, I may actually want to tell a story about that particular thing. Okay? So off of that, I might put, so that I would know to tell a story about Christmas shopping with my girlfriend. Okay? All right. That is a huge topic. Now we talked about religion, right? Is that right? Church? Get in there. All right, what else do we do with the family at Christmas time?
Going out.
Going out? You guys, what do you do when you go out? Do you go out to dinner? Yeah. Okay. How many people have all their family around at Christmas time? Are they around any other time? Is that special? They come in and oh Aunt Sally is coming to visit. Is that kind of thing? Okay. Family, sometimes that's your reunion time. Okay. All right. Okay. Food. I have to admit that's one of my favorite things. So let's talk about food. What's important on food for Christmas?
Cooking it. Somebody got to cook it.
That's right. That's it. Typically it's me. Yeah. All right, what else for me? I love baking. Woo, baking cookies. A tradition in my family of baking Hungarian cookies that we got the recipe when we lived in Germany from a Chinese woman. Okay? If that's not a story to tell, I'll tell you what. So that might be a story to hook on about these. I only make them at Christmas time. It's a big deal in our house. What else? What's important in your house? Do you have Christmas traditions dealing with food or family? Come on, I've got people that are from different cultures in here. You've got to have other things. Maybe I live near a trailer how you celebrate. I hear lots of laughing, but I'm not giving examples over here.
We're laughing because we're thinking that it's a Mexican family.
All right.
They cook pork or goats or.
Exactly. I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I know how to do a good program. All right. What else? Food.
My mom makes a good sweet potato pie.
Oh,
Everybody loves it on Christmas.
that's where you get mom's cooking, right? Okay. Sweet potato pie. All right. Okay. What about decorations? Boy, that's a big topic too. At least at my house.
The drink.
The tree. Oh, yeah. Starts with a T. Tree, yes.
A snowman collection.
Snow.
Always snowmen with weird looking noses.
That's right. Carrots, baby. Right. What else?
Send the lights.
You give us your Santas. Oh, yeah. Let's
Reindeer.
Santa. We got Rudolph. Yeah. Okay. What else? Who puts up Christmas?
The light.
Oh, give me a high five, girl. If somebody didn't say that, I was going crazy. All right. Woo. Okay. Lights. I love me some lights. You put them up? I can't get my husband to put them up, and I'm not climbing the ladder. But boy, I love to drive around and look at people's houses. Yeah. That's date night there, baby. All right. Anything else you can think about decorations? How many have kids? Kids. Are they young? Do they come home and make their dough ornaments that you have to hang center of the tree? Okay? My poor mother, the things she had to put on our tree, because I thought I was an artist. Okay. So maybe here, you're going to talk about the kids' stuff. Okay? Maybe there's something so important because your child made it and you put it on the tree. Are you seeing how there's lots of opportunities to have great stories? Okay? So I don't want you to look at it and say, I love decorations. I enjoy my snowman collection. I also have some Santa and a Rudolph. We like to put up the tree and look at the lights. How exciting was that? Okay? How many of you like to read? Yeah? Of course. Readers. I love to read. I'm a smut reader myself, but I do like to read. When you read a book, you open it up, and what if the first paragraph is boring? Does that inspire you to read it?
No.
You're just like, no, and you put it away, right? But if it grabs you right there, you just can't wait to see the next words, right? That's what I want you to try to do in an essay. Give the reader something that says, wow, I can't wait to get to the next paragraph. And if you're throwing in the stories, maybe it's the first time you ever decorated a tree, or date night with my husband, or, your snowman collection has to have carrot noses that go crooked, okay? Those are stories that make it real, okay? So add those in, okay? This process that you see right here, it looks like a mess, okay? This should take 10 minutes of time to put together before you write an essay. No matter what the topic is, you can sit down, put your answer in the middle bubble, and start shooting off arms with answers, okay? With a 5-paragraph essay, you only need 3 bubbles shooting off, okay? Because when you write a 5-paragraph essay, you're going to have an introduction, yeah? You're going to have a first body paragraph, a second body paragraph, a third body paragraph, and a conclusion. So, these are why you need 3 bubbles around there. It's okay, like I said, if you've got other things you want to put in there, you can add. Just remember, you need to give examples and explain why you chose that. Okay, so we've got a number here. We're going to put numbers on each of these to make at least my life easier. Okay, so Christmas. My favorite holiday is Christmas. Why? We're talking about the introduction. We gave our answer. We've got our topic statement. First thing we're going to talk about is a brief sentence about music. My favorite holiday is Christmas. I always enjoy when I'm able to listen to Christmas music. Okay. Why else? One of my favorite things is when it comes time to deal with the gifts under the tree. Best thing about Christmas is when my family comes in and I can spend time with them through the holiday. And of course, if you mention family, you have to mention food. Christmas food totally rocks. Last thing, I love Christmas decorations. You don't have to get into deep detail on that introduction. You want a brief, and this is where it comes in introduction, a brief introduction to each of your paragraphs. Okay? You have told me in the introduction everything you're going to talk about. Okay? Does that make sense? You have a question on that? Sometimes it's hard to kind of wrap your mind around and say, okay, first paragraph, I answer the question, and then I give at least a sentence to each of these things that I'm going to talk about. Okay? So, first body paragraph, we're going to talk about music. Who wants to give a shot at a topic sentence for that paragraph? Scary. Put you on the spot, right? Spotlight. Yeah. Okay. It's a big deal in my house at Christmas time that we play Christmas music. That is a great sentence that just lets me know everything that comes after that is going to be about Christmas music. This is when you bring out Thanksgiving Day. My family allows Christmas music to start being played on the CD player or on the radio. You could even talk about the radio station, Country KCY plays 24/7 Christmas music starting on Thanksgiving Day. Okay, you can put that stuff in there if that's important to you. Okay, and for me, I'd say I can't wait until I put in my Perry Como CD because that means Christmas season started. That's enough for that paragraph. It doesn't have to be ginormous, but you just have to put some feeling into it. Okay, so then we're going to go to gifts. So we need a topic sentence for that paragraph. You can ask questions inside your essay. How about starting it off with a question? Who doesn't love gifts at Christmas time? That's fine. And now you're going to talk about all the wonderful things. I love starting my Christmas shopping during the summer because I can't wait to see my children open their presents from under the tree. The best is the presents we have marked by Santa Claus. I spend hours shopping to find the perfect gift wrap. It's got to be candy canes for my daughter. That would be me. My mom has to be candy cane wrapped paper. Shopping is a big deal. Either family member or my girlfriend and I go shopping and we hit it and get it. You've got to put your feelings in there. Again, this doesn't have to be a ginormous paragraph, but you want to make sure you're touching on all the things in here. Be careful not to try to shove everything into one sentence, because that tends to be a run-on sentence and it keeps going and going and going. Try to give yourself a way of, maybe you could join the getting and the getting, but try to make it where it's individual sentences. Maybe 1 or 2 sentences for this thought, 1 or 2 sentences for this thought. Find your story inside each of those paragraphs, and that's going to be a couple sentences in there. So you're going to have a lot of information in your essay. This is going to be exciting stuff. Okay, so now we're on to another body paragraph, family. If you realize I don't want to have to paragraph about every single one of those. You could say, you know, these two join together. Again, don't spend time erasing. It's scrap paper. You can scribble, you can point things to show these two need to get together. This is no longer 4, this is a 3. So I'm going to put food and family together. Okay? So now, I'm talking about, Christmas time makes me think food and family. There's your topic. Everything from that point in that paragraph is going to be about spending time with your family and about the food at Christmas time. Okay? Because a lot of this is, you're going out to dinner with your family, going to church with your family. And you know, if it goes to a church, there's food involved. So that's a given. Reunion, that's when the family comes in. All right? Mama's cooking that sweet potato pie. All that is still, Mama's cooking is family. Okay? So they're not always segregated thoughts, so you can join them together. I don't want you to think that just because you planned it, you can't change it. You just don't want to change it in the middle of your writing. Change it on your paper. Okay? 10 minutes of organizing. So, food, family. The thing I said first was dealing with one situation. Because I was thinking going out and looking at lights. But that's not what the whole paragraph's going to be about. It's going to be about all decorations. Okay? So when you're writing and you catch yourself, that's your time to go in and edit and go, that was not a great topic sentence. Let's start that over again. Okay? So, my favorite part of Christmas is dealing with the decorations. For me, it's Thanksgiving weekend. Thanksgiving weekend, we start decorating by putting up the tree. I pull out my snowman collection, all my Woolweeds teddy bears. Okay? Going in, talking about the lights, finding your story. Okay? Does that make sense? Anybody read like that before? If you're a reader, kind of think about it as when you're reading. That will keep you going and keep you creating, because nothing's worse than grabbing that book that is just, gosh, are they ever going to get any description or any details for me? Okay? Now, conclusion. Does everybody write a conclusion to their essays? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. It's kind of like the wrap-up to what you're saying. And I like a well-rounded essay. So I'm going to show you a funny trick on how to make it a well-rounded essay. Okay? So, when we started talking about this, our introduction was in here. And when we did the introduction, this was the first thing I talked about. This was the second thing, third, fourth, fifth. When I write a conclusion, I go backwards. Okay? We talked about decorating. So when we go into a conclusion, go backwards. As I said, I love to go out and deal with decorations on the outside and deal with decorations on the inside of my house. Okay? Then go into food and family. Food and family are such an important part of the Christmas season. Of course, if you ask kids, they're going to tell you the gifts are the best thing about Christmas. But I love that starting in November, I get to listen to the glorious Christmas carols. My favorite holiday is Christmas. See how that wrapped? You started, and then if you're numbering it, it helps you keep your thoughts in order. You're able to come back and say, if I wrote it this way, I'm going to write it this way. But I do want to point out, if you say, as your first statement, Christmas is my favorite holiday, you do not want your last statement to say, Christmas is my favorite holiday. You need to change it up. Remember, don't be boring. Okay? So we're going to say, Christmas is my favorite holiday in the top, and my favorite holiday is Christmas at the bottom. Woo! Be crazy, okay? But that wraps it all up. You've got your introduction, your body 1, body 2, body 3. Well, yes, we got a body 4, but we were able to put together these. Okay? Do you have questions? Yes.
Yes, I have a question. I had a student who was testing and taking a GED test in another subject. But while she was in the test, she said a student got up and walked out because she said, oh, that essay question, I just can't answer it at all.
I know. That's where that scary.
Is there another way to
idea-
get around it if they feel stumped?
I think a lot of times when looking at a question, they're thinking there's a correct answer, okay? And the correct answer is really your thoughts, okay? When I teach this, sometimes I bring up gun control, okay? If that's your topic, gun control, a lot of times people are saying, I can't put my real thoughts down, okay? Because that's such an impassioned subject, okay? But you have thoughts on the matter. You have to just put them down. And that when I'm working with someone, I talk about the topics, no matter what the topic is, they are allowed to express their thoughts. It doesn't matter if it's bad thoughts. You can have bad thoughts. Sometimes I like to throw favorite vacation in, and you know, we'll talk about the beach. And one time I had a room full of men. That's all I had, guys. We're talking about the beach, and no one brought up bikinis. Okay, please. I'm looking at the hot rods when I'm at the beach. Please don't tell me that they're not. And it took me a while to pull that out of them because I thought it was inappropriate. Okay? That's not inappropriate saying, hey, I like the hots. Inappropriate would probably be saying, hey, sex on the beach. That may be a little bit too much information. Okay? But hot rods, perfectly okay. And I think that's what happens is they see these questions and they go, oh my gosh, I can't really talk about this. Or I'm afraid what they're going to think of me if I write this stuff down. They are not judging you by your answer. They're judging how you express your answer.
Vicki, can I add something to that?
Yes, you may.
Sometimes I think it's really intimidating to look at a blank sheet of paper. I just think that, you know, you've got this, there's nothing on it. I've got to get, and once you get something down, you get a little bit of momentum going and then you're okay. So one thing I tell students when I teach writing is take the prompt and use that as your main idea. If the prompt says, describe your favorite holiday and tell why you like it so well. You can take their words and make it into your main idea and say, my favorite holiday is Christmas and there are several reasons why I like it so well. And then get into your very brief statement of what you're going to write about. Then you've got something down on paper, and I think it takes away some of that anxiety.
Also, when writing, kind of going off what you're saying, going from a blank piece of paper and kind of creating in your mind is intimidating. I'm actually amazed. I couldn't do that. Just the idea of sitting down and just winging it. I am an organizer. I have to get my thoughts together before I go in. If you have your scrap piece of paper and you've done this work, you don't have a blank piece of paper anymore. You have all your thoughts blocked on a piece of paper. They're not organized to the point that this isn't what you can turn in, but you've got all your words and all your ideas. You've got, just by putting this on here, I know there's a story I need to tell. It's no longer a blank piece of paper. So, but that's,
Are they allowed to address it and change it? Because I've been told, I was told that they are. And that, for example, if a question was, what's your favorite sport and why do you like it? And I've had students who say they don't like any sports or know anything. Could they address it and say, I prefer not to watch sports, however, I enjoy painting, and then write about painting?
I would not recommend
I
that.
would not.
From a GED examiner's point of view, I would definitely not recommend that.
That's going off the
Because
topic.
there is the category off topic, and we get that back regularly. So
Yeah.
I would.
There's
not
nothing
recommend-
wrong with saying, I don't prefer to watch sports. Trust me, I don't do sports. But again,
Talk
I can
about
still
why.
write about them.
Right,
I
why
can
do I
say-
prefer not to watch sports?
Yeah.
There's an essay prompt on a practice test, and everybody can know about this because it's on a practice test. And it says to talk about a goal you'd like to achieve in the next 5 years and how you plan to achieve it. And for years, people would frequently write about what their goal was and why, and not how, right? And we would fail. And then we went through training and found out that we were totally doing the wrong thing and didn't realize that what they expected you to do is to take that prompt and you could they started talking about something completely different, like, my goal is to be a hairdresser, here are my top 5 favorite hairstyles, that, you know what I mean, that would be getting too far off topic. But talking about why instead of how was still within addressing the prompt. And we really didn't understand that at first, that was really instructive for us.
Well, and my observation has been that when people do freeze and they have test anxiety and the first thing they see is something that just puts them over the edge a little bit. Oh my God, what am I going to write about that? Yeah, I agree with what both of you guys say. I think our advice to them is stop, take a deep breath, and start writing your thoughts on this topic, either in a mind map or in a verbal way. Because once that, it's the action, it's taking the action that triggers the creativity and the moving forward. So as long as you take the topic, they're all general, there's nothing to be scared or intimidated about. You know something about every topic that's going to be presented to you. So don't freak out. It's just like seeing a problem on a math test that you don't know how to solve. You gotta stop, take a deep breath, write what you know. Go ahead with what you know.
And let's be realistic. We're humans, we have an opinion on everything. We want to give it, whether people want us to give it. Here they're asking for an opinion. Express your opinion. Okay? Again, and we've talked about this in the past, it doesn't have to be a positive, it can be the negative. I don't like sports. I have lots of reasons why I don't like sports. I could probably say which is my least offensive sport. Okay? And that would work in the essay. Okay? Going off onto painting would not be. So I think that's the hard part. If this particular question didn't say what was your favorite holiday, because if you have a favorite, then you're not going to have negativity in there. But if it said, explain why Christmas is your favorite holiday, and it's not your favorite holiday, you can explain, maybe something happened that it isn't your favorite holiday, but you understand why other people may. Stay on to the topic and express your own thoughts. Or, if all else fails, make up a Candyland story and make it as wonderful as you want it to be.
And even with this one, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, just to say, is what she wanted to have a question, but she's very shy.
Are you quiet? I don't know anything about that. Can you ask me?
I say, I didn't know that about, is the favorite holiday come out Christmas? I didn't think that's how.
You don't celebrate Christmas at all?
And it would never say
And
that.
it would never
It would
do
say
that.
that. Because that's
It would never do
culturally
that.
specific.
That's
What it
true.
would probably say, and this is what I was just about to say, is many people have a day of the year that's special to them. That would be a more typical GED subject. And that could be the birth of your child, it could be the day that you came to a new country. I mean, that opens it wide up. So that even if you don't celebrate holidays, you can still have an answer to that question. They always try to make it so broad that anyone can answer. That's a very good question.
And look at you, you can sing it out loud. Let me get my five for that. There we go, all right. Any more questions? Seriously, I am very passionate about my belief in this system. I've been teaching it a long time, and Janita came to me and said, we want to work with our GED students and we want to get them through. And she said, do you want to teach 1 hour? And I said, yes! She laughed because I didn't get any specifics. It was just yes, because I want people to be able to write and feel the passion that I feel about writing. Now, I'll be honest, I love me some spell check on the computer, okay? Because spelling, we don't even want to go there. But just because I have struggles when you write doesn't mean you can't be a great writer, okay? If you follow this, get your thoughts on the paper, you're going to do much better. Yes?
On the spelling topic, what if people use the letter U, and the word U, like for the word for?
I don't grade them if I'm teaching them.
I know, but
Yeah,
do you have any idea what the readers think about that?
We've actually talked about that in our training, that we were talking about texting.
Right.
Texting. We talked about, because it's the new generation, it's a thing, it's acceptable. But if you read down in here, it says, the if I'm teaching it, I'm gonna beat it out of them before they get to the test.
So it might be one,
Well, I know, I think still if you have a great story, what it does, it distracts from the story.
Right, well, it's like just
Right.
once, but it's.
Right. I have a student that when he writes his eyes in lowercase. And every time he does it, he gets beat with a wet noodle, and I tell him it's not acceptable. Because if I'm reading it, if I'm struggling to